Bloody magical spot. I'm just sitting here contemplating how good this is. After a couple of days and a few hundred pretty hard Ks of dirt and dust, and a week and a half or more since we've seen fresh water. This is like an oasis in the desert, this is.
Caught behind Venetian blinds, had to reach for the city lights. This ain't where I belong. Hey, look at me, man, what I've become. I've been running east, looking for a sunset, digging deep since '99. What I thought was gone was sitting in my pocket in plain sight.
Swans, is there?
It's a pelican.
Oh, it's a pelican.
Is it?
Yeah.
Where are we
That was
in comparison to Lake Eyre?
Lake Eyre's to our southwest.
How far though? Like,
Oh, it's a fair way, but I guess in terms of
how far a pelican
we're a lot closer than we were when we were in Canberra. I don't know, as the crow flies, it'd be a few hundred K still. Or as the pelican flies, so they.
Pelican flies.
But this is what I love this. This is what amazes me about bird life. How does the pelican know that there's water here? A pelican's not going to come all the way out here if there's no water. They do the same thing at Lake Eyre when Lake Eyre gets water in it. If anyone knows how a pelican knows that there's water in the outback, I'd love to know. Leave me a comment. What's the plan?
Washing, showers, pub, info centre.
Sounds like a good plan to me. So it should take us about 30 seconds to show you around town, I reckon. Maybe this afternoon, could even do a bit of sightseeing. What do you reckon?
Ooh, treat ourselves to a bit of sightseeing. It's nice. Yeah, I reckon that sounds good. So here's what I know. The laundromat, the owners of that have left town. There's a town meeting this afternoon. The lady from the Trading Post is going to bring it up, what they can do to get it running again. So it's not running at the moment, but just ask when you get here because maybe they'll get it up and running again. The showers are $2 each, and got some fruit. Happy days.
Good shower, nice and hot. $2 lasts 4 minutes, which is a fair while. Parents' room, yeah, is the go if you've got the kids here and you want to try and have a shower with the kids. Plenty of room in there for everyone. There's just not really any hooks or anything is the only downside. Any hooks to hang your clothes up or your towels or anything. So maybe take a little ground sheet or something, a little plastic sheet to put down on the ground. But yeah, other than that, really, really good. Come on, let's go boys, let's go to get some food.
Let's go get something special. Hey.
Oh, you want to fly? I get it.
Fly again. Fly again. Fly.
Unfortunately, because it's a bit quiet out here at the moment, there's no beer on tap, no draft. But anyway, grab myself a can of West End, a couple of steak sangers.
It's got no germs on it.
Did you germ his food?
It was my food.
What have the boys got? Toasted sangers?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, chippies. And look at these steak sangers, this looks unreal. Now we're going to rip into this and then go and have a bit of a look around, see what else there is to see around here.
Sounds good.
Sounds good?
Yeah. My face is probably a different colour after that shower. Look how clean I am.
Well, that was a good feed. That was, yeah, exactly what I needed. Hit the spot, that steak sanger. So we're just going to go for a drive now and have a look around Innamincka. Probably check out Burke and Wills graves and memorial. One of them's got a grave, one of them's a memorial, I think. We'll find out when we get there. And just been chatting to the lady from the Trading Post about the road conditions. So I was hoping to leave here in 2 days and do the Walker's Crossing, sort of full drive track that goes between Innamincka and the Birdsville track. It looks like it's not going to be open. It's not under the control of South Australian government. It's pastoralists have control over whether the road's open or closed, and at the moment they're keeping it closed. Not 100% sure why. Apparently the road's fine, but anyway, it is how it is. So I will check in with her just before we leave, and just see if that's changed. Or she said she can also give them a ring for us and see if we're allowed through. So fingers crossed for that. But failing that, we'll go the Cordillo Downs road, which is also an interesting drive, and yeah, we'll get to see Australia's largest sheep shearing shed, which is interesting. Obviously Innamincka is pretty famous for the Burke and Wills and the expedition, so yeah, it's a big part of the European history of the area. So yeah, the gist you get from the sign here is that Burke wasn't a real nice fella. He was more interested in conquering than learning about the land, and he didn't treat the Aboriginal people that tried to rescue them very well. Seemed pretty short-sighted to me. If someone's there who's lived on this land wants to help you out by giving you food and water, and you treat them like shit, then well, you probably deserve what he got. One thing they did say about the expedition actually is that the funny thing about it is that it's not so amazing that it failed, it's amazing how close they came to success. How, yeah, they only just missed out on succeeding, but yeah, 3 of them lost their lives. King was the only one who survived. Burke, Wills and their other companion died. And ironically, the failed expedition meant that so many search parties were coming out to this area looking for them that they actually made a lot of geographical discoveries because of that, because of trying to rescue them. So in a funny sort of way, they did open up the country. Just reading about these river red gums and how incredible they are and how significant they were to the indigenous people and how significant they still are now. And you know, they can survive drought, flood, fire, and can live, you know, 500 to 1,000 years old. Just incredible trees. So Burke was the leader of the Victorian exploring expedition. He was determined to become the first explorer to cross the continent from coast to coast. So they were going Melbourne to the Gulf of Carpentaria. Yeah, he was racing a bloke by the name of Stewart, and that's probably what sort of brought about his demise, in that he maybe wasn't thinking too straight and was rushing a bit too much. So he pushed his animals beyond their limits and reduced his party's ability to hunt for fresh food. His all or nothing attitude made him a dangerous leader. His sense of superiority reflected the attitude of his era. He found it difficult to understand Aboriginal people and found it impossible to embrace the generosity that they showed him. So there you go, eh? There's a bit of a memorial over here for him.
Can't imagine dying by starvation.
No, it'd be
That's got to be pretty ordinary.
Pretty rough way to go.
Roughest ways to die.
So King left him his pistol in case he wanted to make it happen quicker, but he didn't use it. We're going to go and quickly check out Will's Memorial. Let's go see what old mate Will was all about, eh? Hear the story of Will. We've heard Burke's story.
Yeah.
Let's go find out Will's story. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting. More interesting, I think, is the story of the rescuers. And so, like, Burke and Wills obviously attempted to travel up and down the country, be the first ones through, but a lot of the geological discoveries of the area were actually made by the rescuers, which is interesting that you don't hear much about those guys, I think. Interesting who was idolised, I guess, by Australian culture, and who was sort of just in the bandwagon. Like, there was 4 people in the party and you only know about Burke and Wills. I can't even remember the other 2 people's names.
But also, like, they're made out to be heroes. Like, when you learn about them in primary school, I remember learning them, I think it was primary school. Yeah. Like, they're made out to be these heroes. And I get what they did was impressive, but, I mean, old mate Burke was a bit of an arsehole by the sounds of it. I don't know that he deserves the reputation that he's gotten just because he did an impressive thing. I think, you know, you should be a good bloke as well. Eh? Can't be that hard. Maybe Wills was a good bloke. We'll go find out about old mate Wills and see if maybe he was the good bloke.
It's a black sheep in every family, isn't it, Dale?
20 Ks, I think it was, on sandy tracks. You ready to go check out this grave, boys?
Yes, and I want you to climb out. James is still telling.
We're just saying, it's a bit morbid that the sights to see out here are where people died. But it's interesting nonetheless. We're not so much coming out here to see the grave, obviously, more to find out some of the information and It's a bit of a, I don't know, bit of a thing you can tick off your bucket list. That's cow poo, James. It's cow poo, buddy.
James, just there's a fence line here.
Oh, should I move the car?
It's alright, I got this, I'm skinny.
We've got space, all this space. And this clown parks his car. Look at that.
Look at that.
I'm just making room for all the tourists that are coming out. They've got to park in all these spaces. Oh well, can't make it too easy for them. They wouldn't appreciate it. How did it get here? How do you think the cow poo got here?
They just walk.
The cows walked here, and what did they do when they got here?
Poo.
Yeah, that's exactly how it got here. Righto, so this is the marker for Will's memorial. I don't think he's actually buried here. Neither of them are. They've been taken back to Melbourne. But so there's a what do you call it? Like a little memorial thing here for him. Wills died in Creek, 1861. It says William John Wills. His name was. How about that, Willie Wills? Second in command of the Burke and Wills expedition. So on Monday the 20th of August 1860, the Victorian exploring expedition set out to cross Australia for the first time. Burke was the expedition's leader, as we know, but William John Wills was a dedicated scientist who wanted to record scientific observations and use them to dispel the mystery of this unknown continent. So here's a quote from Wills from his diary from 21st of June 1861. Our deaths will rather be the result of the mismanagement of others than any rash acts of our own. So the dig tree is about, I think it's 60 or 70 k's east of Innamincka. So we're probably not going to make that on this trip. It's a bit out of the way for where we're heading, because we're heading obviously in the opposite direction. We're heading northwest, and it's out to the east. But we'll tick that off next time. I've got to come back one day and do the Walker's Crossing track, so maybe that'll be the day I'll go to the dig tree. I was just reflecting on the whole Burke and Wills saga, because I mean, the fact that they trekked, 4 of them, made it to the Gulf, trekked back down. Poor old Gray didn't even make it back to the Cooper, so he passed away before they got back here. They've stopped to bury him, which has taken up enough time that it's meant they've missed their companions by a few hours, where they potentially would have made it in time had old Gray managed to survive. Then they've been left some supplies and whatnot, but they've realised pretty quickly that they've got no chance of catching up with the rest of their party, so they're going to sit tight basically until they get rescued, until someone comes out looking for them. But really their undoing came in not befriending the local people, the indigenous people, because obviously, yeah, they could have easily survived, or potentially survived, if they'd befriended them and eaten their food and learnt their ways and things like that. I mean, they could survive out here. So, well, I reckon we still haven't learned our lesson from that. It's been 150, 200 years, and we're still making the same mistakes. So I think there's just quietly a lot we could learn from the indigenous people about how to live in this country and how to live harmoniously with the land and things like that. Whether you're looking at it from bushfires or from anything, any angle you want to look at it, water management, bushfires, land management. It feels like maybe we're just slowly starting to learn and listen to the indigenous people, but unfortunately it might be a little bit too little too late, and I'm still not convinced. I think there's still too many things that get in the way of that, too much bureaucracy. But yeah, that's about all I got to say about that. Just thought before we get going, I thought I'd just show you what getting ready to be on the road for a day looks like for us. So I guess we sort of have 3 main types of day in the travels. We've got our travel days, where we're obviously driving, trying to get somewhere. We have rest days, where we kind of just sit around camp, get some jobs done, and do things like that. And then we have our sightseeing days where we get out and try and sort of see things. Sometimes there's a combination of those things, but they're sort of the 3 main days. And then I guess actually the other one, probably the 4th one, is the restocking days, where we're just doing, we're in town for a day or half a day, and we're restocking fuel, water, groceries, everything we can get. Restocking days sort of depends on where we are, right? Like at the moment, we've only been doing them the last restocking day we had was 3-4 weeks ago. Getting ready for a travel day, what does that look like? Well, we cleaned the whole van up. You can see at the moment it's still, we've got all our breakfast mess, kids' bunks are still pretty trashed, the kids are dressed, that's a win. Make our bed, tidy up, because there's two reasons we do all that, obviously. One, everything's neat and tidy, nothing's moving around when we're traveling, which is important. Everything's stowed away. And the second is when we pull up at our next destination, it's nice to have a clean van to come into. It's like having a clean house, right? Now, we're sort of getting in the habit before filming of trying to tidy up, because I guess it's kind of like having people around. When you have visitors around to your house, you want the house to be tidy, right? And often the tidiest your house is when you have visitors. Well, we find that anyway. Snacks in the car, vital. 2 kids, you gotta, whether you got 1, 2, 3, 4, or a whole truckload of them, snacks are vital to having a relaxing day. Now, obviously, we can stop anywhere and get into the van and have something to eat. That's a given. If you've got young kids, you'll know they don't stop bloody eating. So we've got about 500 k's to go. So I'm going to get 100 litres. We've still got about probably 15, 20 litres in the tank. So yeah, we're using 17, 18 litres per 100, but I work it out at 20 just to have a bit of reserve, so about 10% more. And then I add a bit of reserve on top of that as well. It's not the sort of place you want to run short on fuel, but also don't want to be buying too much at $1.90 a litre. For those of you who like round numbers like me, 100 litres, $190, $1.90 a litre. The job done. Not the same now. Get out and walk. Bloody flies. We picked up a few hitchhikers, now trying to... So I've got this thing with flies, right? This strategy with getting them out of the car. You got to get rid of the bulk when you first leave somewhere, and then put the windows up and just let them all settle in, think that they've got a free ride, and they tend to hang around near the window where the cool air is, and then you open the window and flush them out. That's it. That's my plan. Just as we were heading out of town, we just saw there's you can buy filtered water, like bulk filtered water in town. It's filtered, desalinated bore water. And I think it's a really good thing for towns to do, for more travellers. I don't think travellers, well, I know we certainly don't mind paying for water, for good quality drinking water, because it can be hard to come across in bulk, particularly when you're out in these parts. I'm not sure if that's a privately run thing or if that's part of the town or the local government sort of initiative, but either way, I think it's a really good idea. I think more towns should do it. So we've crossed the Cooper Creek. That was pretty fun. The Cooper crossing, the water level's up pretty high, so, well, I don't know what high is, but it's reasonably high. It's probably a foot and a half deep, or 300 or 400 mil in the new money. Really got no idea what to expect from this drive, so pretty excited about that. There could be nothing. There could be plenty to see. We don't really know. we'll just check it out as we go. Maybe that crossing at Innamincka is the most exciting part of the drive for the day, and next thing you'll see is we're at camp. I don't know, can't tell you, but all I know is we're going to settle in, get a few Ks under the tyres, and yeah, see you when we see you. We'll see you on the road.
Fast, flat, dusty brown red, bit bumpy, but I'm enjoying it. We've pulled out some old CDs that we packed for times like this when, you know, we've downloaded stuff, but it's just nice to go back to the good old days and live with the CDs. And
Good old days.
The good old days. I know, show my age. Yes, we grew up with CDs, and
I grew up with tapes.
Simon grew up with cassettes. And we're just saying how nice it is to listen to an album in full rather than like a shuffle playlist, and the journey that takes you on. It's good. I'm just sitting out here just singing along to a bit of Florence and Machine and swatting flies.
It's a good drive. The road's in pretty good condition. Like on the open stretches, you can easily sit on 80. Not too badly corrugated. You can tell there's been a little bit of damage from the rains they've had. But yeah, there is a lot of floodways and creeks and stuff that you got to slow down for, like this one. And yeah, so I think our average speed is gonna be probably a bit less than 80, probably 65, 70, something like that maybe. We just pulled over just briefly, had to slow down for a cattle grid, so quick wee break, and I just do a quick walk around, check the car and the van, make sure everything's sweet. We'll do a quick check inside, make sure everything's honky-dory. I was just having a look at this. I'll show you this at the back of the van. There's a cross member here that runs along. And just look at the sand and the... I regret that. I
immediately regret this decision.
Bulled us, holy dooly. We've just left the Innamincka Reserve, the regional reserve, and we're now on Cordillo Downs station, which is, I guess what this road was named after, Cordillo Downs. There's actually a bit of traffic. We've passed a few cars. There was nothing for the first, I don't know how long, probably an hour or so. And now there's a fair bit more traffic. But anyway, not far from here, the road forks. One road goes northeast up more into central Queensland, and we're obviously going to take the one that goes northwest and heads towards Birdsville. So it's about the most exciting thing that's going to happen in the next little while. It does make you think back to old Burke and Mr. Wills, old Willie Wills. You know what Will's first name was, Dale?
William. Oh no.
William Wills.
William Wills.
Who does that to a kid? Anyway, old Bill. He, him and his Burke and Wills and what was it, King and I feel like anyway.
We'll get there by the end of the episode.
Those four dudes that trekked from Melbourne up here. Tell you what, imagine walking through this with horses and trying to carry all your supplies, and it probably looks pretty good at the moment because you know, because they have had recent rains.
I'm going to get back to singing my little heart out because no one can hear me except for these clowns. This gorgeous family of mine. They've put up with my singing. Singing is not my fault.
I don't know what even describing it as singing is a bit of a compliment. I don't know. You're giving yourself a bit of a pump up there. You do make noise along to the track.
I love singing, but I am absolutely woeful at it. Even my own kids don't like the sound of my singing. James will tell me to stop singing lullabies to him because it sounds so terrible.
Mum, just cut it. No, I'd rather just go to sleep by myself, thanks. into what is going to be camp tonight. There's just an area around the homestead they ask you not to camp in, a 15k radius. They say please don't camp here, which is fine. That's easy to respect. There's plenty of room. So we just found this little dry creek bed. This will do us for the night. We just come off the track about 200 or 300 metres. Yeah, we're only here overnight, just doing a quick overnighter. Then we should make Birdsville tomorrow. We didn't make it quite as far today as I thought we would, but that's what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah,
So the sun's
nice.
getting pretty low in the sky. We're just gonna quick set up tonight. Yeah, which for us basically doesn't involve much. Open the door and go to bed. Dinner's already cooked. We're having leftovers for dinner. What did we make? What did we have? Like a chicken curry last night.
Yeah, creamy chicken coconut curry.
Yeah, with cauliflower rice, which is pretty good. Good way to use up some veg and get some more veg into your diet. So yeah,
I know this probably looks really stark to everyone back home, but this is. I'm happy. I'm really happy. Life is really good. I'm so happy.
I just pulled over for a quick wee break. I'll just put my hat back on. Look at that hat hair.
Oh, look gorgeous. He looks gorgeous. Someone leave a comment and tell him he looks gorgeous with his hat hair. He's always worried about it. I love your hair.
You done? Who knows? Maybe we're at camp now. Really red sand. It's the colour's so intense.
It's really pretty. I
don't mean like camping intense. I mean like it's quite intense. Like the colour's quite vibrant and bright. Not like he's pitching a tent. Nah, just kidding.